In a world that glorifies action and busyness, we often forget the quiet power of reflection. What if the secret to true greatness lies not in how much we do, but in the balance between thought and service? Fulton Sheen's profound message invites us to explore the lives of Gandhi, John F. Kennedy, Pope John III, and Dag Hammarskjöld, figures who found greatness by first contemplating deeply and then acting boldly. Join me as we uncover how this delicate dance between contemplation and action can lead to a life of lasting impact and purpose.
The dance of contemplation and action, Fulton Sheen's path to true greatness. In a world that often glorifies busyness and activity, it is easy to overlook the profound impact that stillness and reflection can have on our lives. We are bombarded with the message that to be successful, we must always be moving, achieving, and progressing. But as we rush forward, are we missing the essence of what it truly means to live a life of meaning and purpose? Fulton Sheen, in his timeless wisdom, invites us to pause and consider a different approach. What if true greatness doesn't lie in constant action, but in the delicate balance between reflection and service? What if the secret to a fulfilled life is found in the rhythm of contemplation and action? In his sermon, Sheen presents a compelling argument that the path to sainthood and true greatness is paved with both contemplation and action. He doesn't just suggest that we alternate between the two. He insists that they must be deeply intertwined, each feeding and sustaining the other. Without contemplation, action is aimless. Without action, contemplation becomes stagnant. Sheen's insights, drawn from the lives of four remarkable figures, Mahatma Gandhi, John F. Kennedy, Pope John III, and Dag Hammarskjöld, offer a roadmap for anyone seeking to live a life of purpose and impact. The World Divided, The Go-Go and the Come-Come Sheen, begins by contrasting two groups that exist in the modern world: the Go-Go group and the Come-Come group. The Go-Go individuals are constantly on the move, immersed in action, driven by the external demands of the world around them. They are the ones who believe that success is measured by how much they accomplish, how many tasks they complete, and how fast they move. But in their relentless pursuit of achievement, they often fail to pause, reflect, or find deeper meaning in their actions. They are in motion, but without purpose. On the other side, the Come-Come group represents those who withdraw from the world, seeking refuge in contemplation. They believe that wisdom and insight come from deep reflection, prayer, and meditation. Yet while they may possess great ideas, they remain disconnected from the world, unable to bring their insights into action. They are rich in thought, but poor in deeds. Sheen's message is clear. Neither group, on its own, can achieve true greatness. It is only when the two are brought together, when contemplation fuels action and action is guided by reflection, that we can lead lives of deep significance. This is the balance that Christ modeled in his life, first inviting his followers to come to him for inspiration, and then commanding them to go into the world to serve. The call to greatness lies in the harmony between stillness and movement, thought and action. Gandhi. Nonviolence begins within. One of the most powerful examples of this balance can be found in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. To the world, Gandhi is known as the great leader of nonviolence, a man who fought for the independence of India through peaceful resistance. But Sheen peels back the layers of Gandhi's public life to reveal the deep inner work that preceded his activism. Gandhi's commitment to nonviolence toward others began with a fierce discipline of nonviolence toward himself. Before Gandhi could lead a movement, he had to master his own desires, ego, and impulses. He embraced fasting and celibacy, believing that self-mastery was the foundation for mastering the world's injustices. Gandhi's greatness did not come from grand speeches or public demonstrations alone. It came from the quiet, personal battles he fought within himself. He believed that if he could conquer his own selfishness, he could inspire others to overcome theirs. In this way, Gandhi's contemplation of the Sermon on the Mount became the fuel for his lifelong activism. He lived the truth that to change the world, one must first change oneself. Through Gandhi's life, Sheen teaches us that action without inner transformation is hollow. True nonviolence, and indeed true leadership, must begin with the self. Only when we have confronted our own weaknesses and desires can we hope to lead others with authenticity and integrity. John F. Kennedy, the hidden strength of silent suffering. While Gandhi's life demonstrates the power of self-mastery, John F. Kennedy's story offers a different lesson about the balance between contemplation and action. Kennedy's public persona was one of charisma, confidence, and leadership. He is remembered for his bold vision and his ability to inspire a generation. But Sheen reminds us that beneath Kennedy's polished exterior lay a man who suffered deeply and silently. Kennedy's life was marked by physical pain, a result of injuries sustained during his military service. This pain, which he bore in silence, became an occult cross that he carried throughout his life. It was something he rarely spoke about, yet it shaped him in profound ways. Sheen argues that this hidden suffering was a source of strength for Kennedy, purifying his character and deepening his wisdom. Pain, Sheen suggests, is a great teacher. It strips away superficiality, ego, and selfishness, leaving behind a more refined and empathetic soul. Kennedy's pain was not just a burden, it was a gift that made him a better leader. Sheen likens pain to the tightening of violin strings. Just as the strings must be tightened to produce beautiful music, so too must we endure suffering to become our best selves. Through Kennedy's example, Sheen challenges us to view our own struggles not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Suffering, when embraced with courage and grace, can lead us to greater wisdom and deeper understanding. Pope John III, the simplicity of love. In the life of Pope John III, Sheen finds yet another example of the balance between contemplation and action. Known for his warmth, humility, and sense of humor, Pope John embodied the idea that love for God must lead to love for humanity. His greatness was not found in intellectual brilliance or theological complexity, but in his simple, heartfelt love for others. Sheen highlights that Pope John's love for the world flowed from his deep contemplation of God's love. It was this connection with the divine that gave him the strength to open the Church to the modern world through the Second Vatican Council. Pope John's contemplation of God's infinite love translated into tangible acts of kindness and openness toward all people. His life teaches us that the most profound actions often come from the simplest motivations: love of God and love of neighbor. Pope John's sense of humor, his ability to laugh at himself, and his deep humility were all rooted in his understanding that life, when lived in love, becomes uncomplicated and full of joy. Through his example, Sheen reminds us that greatness is not always found in grand gestures or complex ideas. It can be found in the simple, everyday acts of kindness that flow from a heart filled with love. Dag Hammarskjöld, the hidden power of interiority. The final figure Sheen discusses is Dag Hammarskjöld, the former Secretary General of the United Nations. Hammarskjöld's life was marked by a profound sense of interiority, a quiet inner strength that few people knew about. Unlike the other figures Sheen discusses, Hammarskjöld's greatness was not visible to the world. It was hidden in his deep spiritual life and personal sacrifices. Hammarskjöld's commitment to peace was rooted in his contemplation of Christ's suffering. He saw his own life as a reflection of the life of Christ, marked by unjust accusations and quiet endurance. His decision to remain chaste, his devotion to Scripture, and his willingness to give his life for the cause of peace all stemmed from this deep interior life. Hammarskjöld's greatness was not in what he did, but in who he became through his inner sacrifices. Through Hammarskjöld's life, Sheen teaches us that true power comes from within. It is not always the loudest or most visible leaders who have the greatest impact. Sometimes the most profound contributions come from those who live quietly, rooted in deep spiritual conviction. Greatness is not always public. It can be hidden in the quiet depths of a soul dedicated to God. The dance of reflection and service. Throughout Sheen's sermon, one theme remains constant. The balance between contemplation and action is essential for true greatness. Each of the figures he discusses, Gandhi, Kennedy, Pope John, and Hammarskjöld, began with deep reflection, whether through prayer, suffering, or love. It was this contemplation that gave them the strength, clarity, and purpose to act in ways that changed the world. Sheen warns that without contemplation, action becomes mere busyness, a flurry of activity without direction or meaning. But when action is rooted in reflection, it becomes powerful and transformative. To truly make a difference, we must first seek wisdom and inspiration from within before we turn outward to serve others. The ultimate path to greatness, love and action. In the end, Sheen's message is one of love and service. Whether it is Gandhi's self-discipline, Kennedy's silent suffering, Pope John's love for humanity, or Hammarskjöld's quiet interiority, each of these figures exemplifies the idea that true greatness is found in giving of oneself for the sake of others. They each came to contemplate and then went into the world to act. Sheen's sermon calls us to follow their example, to balance our lives between reflection and action, and to root everything we do in love. Love is the force that drives us to serve, and service is the expression of that love. By cultivating both, we can lead lives of meaning and purpose, making a lasting impact on the world around us. Conclusion: the harmony of stillness and movement. Fulton Sheen's reflections on contemplation and action remind us that greatness is not achieved through action alone, nor through contemplation in isolation. It is the union of the two, reflection and service, that creates a life of true significance. As we look to the examples of Gandhi, Kennedy, Pope John, and Hammarskjöld, we see that each of them took time to contemplate, and it was from this place of inner strength that they went forth to change the world. Sheen's message is clear. If we seek to make a difference, we must first look within. Through contemplation, we find the wisdom and inspiration needed to act. Through action, we express the love and service that flow from our reflections. In this balance, we discover the true path to greatness, a path that is open to all who are willing to both come and go.
In a world full of seriousness and tension, laughter seems to have been forgotten. But what if I told you that laughter is not just a fleeting emotion, but a bridge between the human and the divine? Fulton J. Sheen, a man of profound wisdom, believed that humor has the power to reveal our greatest truths. Join me as we explore Sheen's unique insights into why laughter is more than just a reaction. It's a reflection of our spiritual journey. Let's dive into the joy, the wit, and the deeper meaning behind every smile and laugh.
The nature of humor. Fulton J. Sheen's exploration of humor goes beyond a simple appreciation for jokes or lightheartedness. He delves into the very essence of what makes something funny, and in doing so, reveals a profound truth about the human condition. Sheen begins by noting that humor is born from a slight degradation of dignity. This is a crucial point. Humor arises not when dignity is completely destroyed, but when it's gently nudged or tipped off balance. Consider the image of a bishop, solemn and dignified, walking with his mitre, the tall, pointed hat worn during religious ceremonies. The mitre, a symbol of authority and spiritual leadership, carries a weight of respect. But now imagine it worn slightly askew, tipping to one side. This subtle imperfection makes us laugh, not because it mocks the bishop, but because it humanizes him. The same person who represents the divine on earth is momentarily brought down to our level. In this small, harmless deviation from perfection, we find humor. It's not that the bishop's dignity is destroyed. Far from it. His role and stature remain intact, but the slight disruption of the expected order creates a space for laughter. Sheen argues that this is where humor thrives, in the gaps between expectation and reality, between the divine and the human. Humor, then, is not simply a frivolous escape from reality. It is a reflection of our dual nature. As humans, we belong to two worlds, the material and the spiritual. We are both creatures of the earth and reflections of the divine. When we laugh, we are acknowledging the tension between these two aspects of our existence. We laugh at the small imperfections, the moments when our higher aspirations collide with our earthly limitations. Sheen's insight into humor teaches us that laughter is a way of embracing our humanity. It allows us to accept our flaws and weaknesses without losing sight of our dignity. In fact, it is in these very moments of imperfection that we find our greatest humanity. Laughter, then, is not just a reaction, it is a way of understanding the world and our place in it. Humor as a unique gift to humanity. Sheen's reflections on humor also touch on something deeply significant, the fact that laughter is uniquely human. Animals may amuse us when they mimic human behavior, but they do not possess the ability to laugh in the same way that we do. This ability to laugh, Sheen suggests, is a reflection of our dual nature as beings who exist between the earthly and the divine. Take, for example, the story Sheen tells about his dog. He trained the dog to put its head between its paws and pray, remaining in this position until Sheen said, "Amen." This scene is funny because the dog, an animal, is performing a human action. But beyond the humor, there's a deeper truth here. We laugh because we recognize ourselves in the dog's behavior. The dog is mimicking something distinctly human, and in that mimicry, we find humor. But why, Sheen asks, does laughter only begin with humans? The answer, he explains, lies in the fact that humans are the only creatures who inhabit both the earthly and the divine realms. Animals exist solely in the material world, driven by instinct and survival. Angels and other divine beings exist purely in the spiritual realm, untouched by the limitations of the physical world. But humans are different. We belong to both worlds, and it is this duality that gives rise to laughter. Humor, in this sense, becomes a bridge between the material and the spiritual. It allows us to step back from the seriousness of life and see the world from a higher perspective. When we laugh, we are acknowledging the limitations of our earthly existence, while also recognizing the greater reality beyond it. This is why laughter is so powerful. It connects us to our higher nature while grounding us in our humanity. In Sheen's view, laughter is not just a way to cope with life's challenges. It is a way to transcend them. Through humor, we can see the world with clearer eyes, recognizing both its beauty and its absurdity. And in doing so, we come closer to understanding the divine. And society's loss of humor. One of the most striking points in Sheen's analysis of humor is his observation that society has lost its ability to laugh at itself. In the past, satire was a vital part of culture. It allowed people to poke fun at the absurdities of life, to lighten the mood and relieve tension. But today, Sheen argues, satire has been largely replaced by a kind of grim seriousness. According to Sheen, this shift is a result of society becoming overly sensitive and politically correct. In our desire not to offend, we have lost the ability to laugh at ourselves and at the world around us. Sheen notes that jokes about ethnicity, religion, or even general human behavior have become taboo. Where once we could laugh at the quirks and contradictions of human nature, we now fear saying anything that might be seen as inappropriate. This cultural shift, Sheen suggests, is not without consequence. When we lose the ability to laugh at ourselves, we lose a vital aspect of our humanity. Satire, in its true form, is not meant to degrade or insult. It is meant to point out the absurdities and contradictions in life, allowing us to see the world with a lighter heart. Without satire, we risk becoming too rigid, too focused on our own importance, and too serious. Sheen's reflections on satire offer a valuable lesson for today's world. In a society that often feels divided and polarized, humor can serve as a unifying force. It allows us to step back from our differences and see the common humanity that binds us together. Laughter, in this sense, becomes a way to bridge the gaps between people, offering a moment of shared understanding. By reclaiming the ability to laugh at ourselves, Sheen argues, we can find a way to navigate the complexities of modern life with grace and humility. Humor, far from being a trivial distraction, is a powerful tool for healing and connection. Humor as a reflection of the divine. Perhaps one of the most profound points in Sheen's discussion of humor is his assertion that laughter is deeply connected to the divine. In Sheen's view, humor is not just a human reaction. It is a reflection of our connection to God. Humans, created in the image of God, carry within them a spark of the divine. But at the same time, we are also creatures of the earth, bound by physical limitations and imperfections. It is in the tension between these two realities that humor finds its place. Sheen explains that laughter arises when we see the gap between our higher calling and our earthly existence. When we laugh at ourselves, we are acknowledging our imperfections without losing sight of our divine potential. This kind of laughter is not mocking or degrading, it is liberating. It allows us to see ourselves as we truly are, flawed but capable of greatness. In this sense, humor becomes a way of transcending our earthly limitations. It allows us to view our struggles with a lighter heart, recognizing that there is something greater at work in the universe. Laughter, then, is not just a way to cope with life's challenges. It is a way to rise above them. This insight offers a deeper understanding of why humor is so important in spiritual life. It allows us to see the divine through the lens of the human, to find moments of grace in the midst of our imperfections. By laughing at ourselves, we are not denying our flaws. We are embracing them as part of the journey toward spiritual growth. Sheen's reflections on humor and the divine offer a powerful reminder that laughter is not just for moments of joy. It is a way of finding light in the darkness, of seeing the world through a lens of hope and grace. The contrast of gloom and laughter. Sheen's description of the modern world as being steeped in gloom is a sobering one. He paints a picture of a culture obsessed with darkness, from literature to music to art. Even young people, he notes, are caught up in this wave of melancholy, singing songs about heartbreak and death at an age when they should be full of life and joy. But Sheen doesn't stop at diagnosing the problem. He offers a solution: laughter. In a world filled with gloom, laughter becomes a vital antidote. It lifts us out of the darkness and reminds us that there is still joy to be found, even in the midst of life's challenges. Laughter, Sheen argues, is not a denial of the world's problems. It is a way of confronting them with courage and grace. By finding humor in the small things, we are able to maintain perspective, to see the bigger picture. Life, with all its trials and tribulations, is still something to be enjoyed. Sheen's vision of humor as a counterbalance to gloom is a powerful reminder of the importance of maintaining perspective. In a world that often feels heavy and overwhelming, laughter offers a moment of relief, a way to reconnect with the joy and beauty that still exist. God's laughter. In one of the most thought-provoking moments of his talk, Sheen reveals that even God laughs. He points to passages in Scripture where God is said to laugh, particularly at the notion that humans might declare him dead. This divine laughter, Sheen suggests, is not one of mockery, but of understanding. It is the laughter of a parent watching their child struggle with something they will one day understand. God's laughter, in this sense, is a reminder of the limits of human understanding. No matter how far we stray from faith, God's presence remains. His laughter, Sheen suggests, is a reflection of his patience and love for us. It is a sign that, despite our confusion and mistakes, we are always moving toward a greater truth. This moment in Sheen's talk offers a profound insight into the nature of divine love. God's laughter is not a rejection of humanity. It is an affirmation of our potential. It is a reminder that no matter how lost we may feel, we are never beyond the reach of his grace.
Fulton J. Sheen's reflections on humor offer a powerful and uplifting message for a world that often feels heavy and serious. He reminds us that laughter is not just a way to escape from life's challenges, but a way to embrace them. Through humor, we are able to see ourselves more clearly, to acknowledge our imperfections without losing sight of our potential. In a world that can often feel overwhelming, Sheen's words offer a reminder that laughter is a gift, a way to connect with both our humanity and our divinity. It is through laughter that we find the strength to carry on, the grace to navigate life's challenges, and the joy to celebrate its beauty.